talking all things sport right here on your first choice for sport. Here's what you can expect on tonight's edition of the program. Wangani Mafu and Genesis Mangombe will assist interim Warriors head coach Brito for the next 9 months. Does this technical staff inspire any confidence in Ash and Simba, and of course you as the nation? Ash spoke to Mangombe earlier today. We'll be hearing from him about this huge appointment. And then Dynamos have reduced gate charges for this weekend's Harare derby against Caps United, with the cheapest ticket now costing $3. Dynamo's chief executive Jonathan Mashingaidze speaks on the club's excitement to return to the capital. And is Erik ten Hag already regretting the signing of Andre Onana after his howler against Bayern Munich in the Champions League last night? The Cameroonian keeper has now conceded 14 times in just 6 games with Manchester United. Several goals considered very savable. Did United rush in letting old David De Gea go in the last transfer window? So your views and comments always welcome on our WhatsApp platform. That's 0772 162 651. Talk to me about the new Warriors technical staff and its prospects for success with the boys, as well as Manchester United's continuing woes. As some of your messages already coming through on the WhatsApp line here. And the high sports team, Rwanda National Sports Stadium, I think you mean Richie Zara Sunday. Wangawasua Bora Harare, Blafeja, Norton there. Thank you very much for listening. And then Anzi, Brito and Kaka, Bora, ZIFA must be serious. Continue to send through your comments. We'll try and read as many of them as possible before we head out of the studio. Let's get started.
Today's local news on the Daily Sports Zone.
Alright, so ZIFA has officially appointed Brito as the head coach of the senior men's national team until June 2024. He will be assisted by Wange head coach Wangani Mafu and Dynamo's interim boss Genesis Mangombe. So in a statement released today, the normalization committee said the coach's tenure will end at the same time as the committee's term, so that the next elected ZIFA board will have the opportunity to recruit its own coaches. Brito and his assistants will take charge of the Warriors for the first time in an invitational match to celebrate Botswana's Independence Day on the 30th of September. That will of course be followed by the 2026 World Cup qualifiers that begin in November with matches against Rwanda and Nigeria. The coaches will be pulling double duty, still coaching their own clubs and reporting for national assignments during international breaks. So Ash spoke to Mangombe, who is also a Zimbabwe Republic police officer. He is ranked as sergeant and is the first policeman to be appointed to the Warriors technical staff. He speaks on what getting the job means to him.
What is there, you need to work very hard, because my opportunities here are one I just thank God with the sure this guy is doing something. I just want to thank one Macho. I appreciate also so I know my qualifications with the national team. And then one I will be learning from also Coach Brito, Coach Mafu, and Coach Coach somewhere. You know, that's what I want, and you learn a lot. And my experience is actually I'm about coaching. It means I just appreciate the opportunity. I just thank God for the opportunity, and I know you.
And as far as the pension to coach, didn't officer a coach national team?
National team.
Of course, you can hear that. I guess you can hear even the excitement in terms of this appointment for him. What were your opinion? What's your opinion rather on the appointment as well? Some people might be saying ZIFA going for a popular choice, considering what he's been doing at Dynamos over the last month or so. Maybe there wasn't a lot of thought into it, kind of like the Brito appointment. Your view on this appointment of Mangombe?
Well, he applied just like any other. I think both coaches, all three coaches applied, and they have the qualifications according to ZIFA, and they went for the interviews and they impressed. And I think the brands that they represent have a big part in this, Highlanders and Dynamos. It's probably going to sound cruel, but it's tough to coach Green Fuel. It's tough to coach Ngezi Platinum Stars and be a Warriors coach. It's the trend looks like it has been there. I was talking to Simba about since the 80s. It probably happened once or twice. What was his name? John Rugg. Back at Rio Tinto, and Gibson Omela as well. Maybe for the not so big teams, in Saints, maybe back then and whatnot. But it's tough, really. There are people who are they end up becoming very good assistant coaches, for those teams. Unless maybe you played for the Warriors and you've got that heritage. So a lot has to go into this as well. So I think the brands actually help these coaches also land those jobs, Islanders and Dynamos. For me, I think it's refreshing that these are not popular choices. I think maybe it's actually a footprint of this new ZIFA leadership, the normalization committee, to say we're not really going to be popular. We're not really here to seek approval and say the people are happy, so the popular choice wins. Because at the end of the day, they have to be objective, they have to be neutral. They're reporting to FIFA, and I think FIFA is happy with their decision so far and whatever it is they're trying to do. They're saying interim because these coaches are not coming in to win football matches. They're coming in to lay a foundation, coming in to set the structure. It's an interim basis, a 1-year thing. How much can you do in a year? Their first match is really an exhibition match against Botswana. That's on next weekend. The first official matches, I don't know when Chan is going to be. It was supposed to be this weekend, and CAF has been quiet on that one. So FIFA World Cup qualifiers, Rwanda and Nigeria. To be honest, what do we have now? We've got like just over a month to go before those matches as well. So I really don't think these are matches that are at this stage. Yes, they probably are winnable, but we haven't really prepared really. So I wouldn't put pressure on these coaches. Next year in June we're supposed to play Lesotho in South Africa, so maybe 4 matches for these guys. Who knows when Kosafa will be? If it's after June, it's another team. So they are actually saying the team that comes in, the new ZIFA leadership, will appoint their own. They can renew these coaches or they can go another way. So I'm happy with what it is. It's refreshing that no one could have called these coaches there. And I think I love the ZIFA like this to say it's not predictable. They are not going by the popular choice. They're not trying to be popular. They're not going by what the media says or what fans say or trying to please fans. They're really going by what they see as objective. And for me, it's actually refreshing to have these coaches.
Simba, talk to me about the appointment of Wangani Mafu. As I said, Brito and Genesis, some people will say, I understand they've been producing results in the local league for a long time now, or I guess in Genesis Mangombe's a case a bit shorter, a lot shorter rather than Brito. But Wangani Mafu now, that's coming from left field. No one at all expected him to get such a call-up. Yes, obviously it means he applied for it, but why do you think ZIFA went for him, even if you're now juxtaposing it with what he's doing with Wangi?
Yeah, you remember Bongani Mafu was an assistant to Sunday Chidzamba before, also is not new to the Warriors terrain, and there is that shadow advisory committee that is there at ZIFA, that the normalizing committee rather, that they didn't make public. So I'm sure they are the ones that also, in as much as that he applied and did well, and also recommended him because of his past experience. And I would say that is also one coach that I thought also deserves to be there, and coming from not one of the biggest teams in the country and being appointed to such a post, and also particularly at a time when at Wange itself he was suspended, when there's also not forthcoming, and Nation Dube is the one who is in charge at the moment. But for Bongani Mafu, like I said, he has been there before, and he's one of those coaches that has been really good, despite the fact that he hasn't coached many clubs in the country, except at the time that when he came back into the country, he coached Islanders, and then he left the job, went to Cholocho, and went to Ngezi Platinum Stars as assistant to Benjani.
So we'll wait and see exactly how this technical staff turns out in terms of its results. As Ash said, there may be not too much pressure on them going forward for these next 9 months. Not a lot of is expected of the Warriors, of course, considering where we are right now in terms of world football, the composition of the team, all of that. But they have to start thinking about the composition of the team for their game against Botswana. That will be the first time we see them in action, and of course they will always want to leave a very good first impression. The Super Green coming through on the WhatsApp platform. Brito mafu and mangombe apo panyepo apo ibora ripiroro hakuna bora rakadaro. So you have to say completely unhappy with that, those appointments. And $3 stadium Richard Zara. I already thought Richard Zara need $5, but $3. But please, we need maximum security. Thinking about going to that Harare derby match. You don't leave a name here, Anzi. Let's give Brito the chance, but it will be hard. I think your name is Hamipa Glenview. Thank you very much for that one. And then last one for now, Anzi. I think the technical team is well balanced in my view. Brito is a decent coach. Genesis is a shrewd tactician, I think you mean to say. Let's give them a chance. Go Warriors, go Bavale. Pa New Cranbourne there.
This is the Daily Sports Zone. Star FM. Your first choice in sport.
Indeed, let's talk about the Harare derby. Just 3 days to go. Rather, before that big game between Dynamos and Caps United at the National Sports Stadium. The match marks the return of Premier Soccer League football to Harare after 3 months due to renovations at the giant National Sports Stadium. Originally, Dimbare, as the home side, had pegged the cheapest ticket for the match at $5. Widespread outrage, though, has led to a rethink, and so one will have to pay $3 for a rest of ground ticket, $10 for the grandstands, and $15 for the VIP. Dynamo Chief Executive Jonathan Mashingaidze said they are pleased as a club to be returning to Harare with such a big clash and are promising a memorable show.
As for the Harare derby, we were saying it's our first homecoming fixture, and we're looking forward to using that relocation to Harare as part of celebrating the 60th anniversary, as well as reconnecting with the fans based in Harare and beyond. We are working flat out through our machinery, our event management machinery, to ensure that the Big Sunday event becomes an event to remember for a long time. We want to bring back the old memories of the Harare derbies since 1980s, the derbies which would see Caps United unleashing their best against Dynamos and vice versa. And we're saying you'll love the Big Sunday. Please come to the National Sports Stadium and be part of the big crowd that is going to sample out the best football from two of Harare's football giants.
Dynamo's Chief Executive there, Jonathan Mashingaidze. Ash, let's start with you on this one. $3. They've brought it down from that $5. A lot of people were complaining about it. What's the difference though? Because the big Dynamo's Highlanders game, $5 was charged. There wasn't a lot of outcry, and it was a very packed stadium. Is there a difference between Wulai and Harare fans in terms of wanting to dish out money for this, or maybe it's a case of Caps United certainly not in the best form, Dynamo's coming off a loss, so maybe they were a bit worried that they will not be able to attract as many fans for such a big game? Don't forget, this was the first game in Harare. This would be the first game in Harare for 3 months. Surely that would have been enough to bring fans regardless of the price.
Well, I will say this though, there's a difference between Highlanders fans and other fans. Dynamo's hijacked. Look, fine, they were given that game, but essentially they didn't market that game. It was Highlanders who marketed that game, and Dynamo's profited from it. That's really what it is, because if you look at it, officially, what did they say? 13,000 for a 23,000 seater that looked full, right?
Yep.
And Dynamos, I think at $5 grossed the most this season, 72,000. You know, and I think for Caps in this reverse fixture, they had more fans, but they had less money because it was $3. And I'm trying to drive at Dynamos have, that's their model now. This thing of saying, I know they said they are listening executive, which is nice. I guess it's cool, because that's what they wrote, that we've listened and we've adjusted. So in the morning on the first day when this thing was approved for national sports, they said $2 around 10 a.m. and then around 5 p.m. now it was now $5. Like the thing Charo and inflation or something funny, I don't know. And then now they come days later and say $3. That tells you a lot. But the $5 was actually what they'd committed to, because I think clubs, including Dynamos, have given up on the battle to fill up the stadium.
Yeah.
Now what they're saying is whoever comes in, let us maximize on that. If 3,000 fans come in, it's $5. If 10,000 come in, it's $5, because National Sports Stadium it's not cheap. Now they're saying what is it? Is it 15% of gate takings as well, which is going to be a lot. I think they got 13,000 from the reverse fixture in the Harare Derby when Caps hosted that. They got about 13,000 as well, the stadium owners, which was the most they've got for a football game. So $5 gets you the best, or I guess you maximize even on the few numbers that are there. I'm actually saying even if you make this game free, it won't be full, because the marketing is terrible. You need to do extra when you are in Harare. Highlanders can market. It's the only team that can market its fans, because it has captured them on a loyalty basis. Those fans will show up whether they're losing or winning. Those fans will show up and buy jerseys even if the team is not doing well. They've been doing that for years. You look at the figures, Highlanders will outsell Dynamos unless Dynamos is doing well. Because somehow they have that model that their fans will always show up no matter what. They were saying their lowest attendance is 5,000. That was the average for Dynamos in most of their games in Harare when they were drawing. So Dynamos, as far as attendance, it's been poor this season. And the game that has grossed the most was officially a Caps United home game, 18,500. They're hoping for the same numbers because it's the same game. But I think they might just be less because they haven't done enough for this game, to market this game. So $5, there is doubt in there. There are nerves in there.
Yeah,
that's why they dropped it to $3. They're really thinking to say Harare is tough to gauge. Will they come? Will they not? There hasn't been football in a while. There's English Premier League counter attraction. Are they going to come in? So maybe $3. Let's give them what they want and hope for the best. I think this is exactly what has happened here.
Simba, do you think the people will get value for money from those $3 that they're going to spend on Sunday? Let's not forget Caps United are in a very bad way. Or let's say they're in a very average way. They're nowhere near where they expect to be, near the top of the table. Dynamos were surging before that loss to Bulawayo Chiefs last Sunday. In terms of the game itself, very briefly, do you think the fans will be able to get their money's worth when they spend $3, especially when you talk about it being the first game back in Harare for 3 months?
If you rewind to the first game that these two sides met, Rukudzo, and in that game, nobody really gave Dynamos a chance because at that time, people thought that Dynamos were going to be beaten by Caps United, but then they took the game to Caps United, and it was really exciting. So the same can just happen on Sunday. Even Caps United can also rediscover their form against Dynamos, or Dynamos would also want to have a double over Caps United. So I think both clubs will go into these games trying to give their best shot, and I can foresee a good game in that encounter, because where Dynamos are at the moment, they really want to go for the league title, and for Caps United, losing twice to your rivals won't be something that would be really good and something that will be accepted by their fans.
It certainly won't, and as well, let's hope for a serious peace at that match, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, can we not see a repeat of those scenes from Valbo tennis and so on? TK the plumber in Bulawayo. Then another message here saying, team manager, how far? As far as I know, it is still Wellington Pandare. I will certainly update you on any changes there, but that has not changed. Wellington Pandare will still be a national team manager. Last one for now, Brighton, and from Bulawayo Popoma. You say a derby in Harare, but for me, I would have loved the game to be played at Barber Fields. Nevertheless, it will be played at National Sports Stadium. In the end, it's the end of us in Bulawayo to watch our Dimbare. And we urge the fans in Harare to support the team the way we did in Bulawayo. Come in numbers, no violence, no boos to players. Our Dimbare will prevail.
This is football. Football!
I think we have a winner. Music. The news is our life. Did you hear what the weatherman said?
It's the complete radio sports show. The Daily Sports Zone is on right now.
All right, so we have time for our regular roundup of the state of affairs in the second tier of Zimbabwean football. Division 1 leagues around the country continue with each of the 4 regions' races for promotion heating up. As usual, we leave it up to our football encyclopedia, one and only Simba Chimiya, to tell us what's going on there in the second tier.
Yeah, Rukudzo, it's really tough or exciting, should I say, in the northern region because you have Black Mambas opening a 7-point gap lead at the top after winning over the weekend. So tomorrow they'll be up against Ngezi Platinum Stars under 19 at Baobab Stadium. So Ngezi Platinum Stars are really doing well in the second half of the season, and they've got a boy to look up in the next season, or I'm sure next season you'll be playing for the senior team. His name is Tinashe Mashairin. He's the top goal scorer in the league with 8 goals. And for Black Mambas, they've also 2 other guys that are also scoring for fun. They are on 6 goals each, and they've been doing well in the second half of the season, particularly Listan Lovo and Brian Kusinyera. So the game is on tomorrow, and then the other game that is there, the team that is on second position, Harare City face against come again from Kadoma at Morris Sports Club, and come again are coached by former Harare City coach that is a big boy Mawiwi. So if Harare City lose this game, it means Black Mambas wins, it means it will be a 10-point gap for Black Mambas. So it's a game that Harare City can't afford to lose. And we have also seen at Golden Eagles, you know, there were changes that were there, and it was quite Mark Mate wasn't in charge at the weekend. It was actually Philip Stoll, the former Dynamo's right back, who is now in charge was in charge rather at Golden Eagles. So you look at Golden Eagles, one of the teams that has started to be one of the contenders for the league title, but they are now 15 points away from the league leaders, and they is more coached by Lloyd Mtasa, 13 points behind the league leaders. And over the weekend you saw Wisdom Mtasa, the former Dynamo's FC Platinum midfielder, scoring his first goal for them. And then we cross over to the southern region. Things are not really rosy for the teams there, because last week, or should I say this week rather, we spoke about Zimbabwe Saints, being expelled from the league for failing to pay affiliation fees. And now we've got 2 other teams, Makandeni Pirates and the Mountain Climbers, also being expelled. So we have got 15 teams that are left, and there is also danger that by the end we got to the end of the season, we might be having another team also pulling out, and also for fixtures it means that one other team will also be on the bye every weekend because of the teams being expelled, or teams failing to go for matches because of financial constraints. And then we go to the eastern region. So much competition there, because you look at the teams that are at the top. Wangu Mazodze on 42 points, and you've got Tenix with a game in the end, 42 points. You've got Rusitu Tigers, one of the surprise packages, a team from Chimanimani, and playing at a high school ground, but they're really doing well, 3rd position, 40 points. And then you also have Mtare City Rovers. So the big game at the weekend, it's Tenix versus Mtare City Rovers. In Mtare City, they've got a coach at Justin Ngondonga, and he has been doing well since he took over from Luke Masomere when he left for ZPC Kariba. So he has gone for 13 games with a win and 1 defeat and 3 draws. So a good game that we expect. I think this is the highlight game in the weekend for all the Division 1 leagues. And going to the Central region, it's still Tier 1. Ronaldinho, these players, it seems they were born and meant to play football. They not of probably in the next years to come. Defending from Chapungu called Pelembe Maruza is very good, 17 years, and also there is one Ngosiabo Masilela, very good. So that's the roundup from the Division 1 leagues. The game to look forward to, Temex versus Mutare City Rovers.
This is World Sport on